I thought the camera would protect me. Stupid, I know. But that's what I believed. I'd hold up that bell and howl, look through the viewfinder, and somehow I'd be separate from it all. An observer, a witness. Not really there, not really part of it. Just a man with a camera documenting history. The camera didn't protect me from anything. Name's Jack Hartley. I was a combat cameraman with the Army Signal Corps attached to the 10th Army. Before the war, I worked for Paramount News in Los Angeles. Newsreels mostly. Boxing matches, movie premieres, the occasional political rally. Easy work. Good pay. I was 32 years old and thought I had life figured out. Then Pearl Harbor happened, and suddenly Hollywood wanted war footage. Real war footage. The government wanted it too. Had to show the folks back home what their boys were doing. Had to justify the cost, the sacrifice. So they recruited cameramen. Guys who knew how to work a 16-millimeter camera under pressure. Guys who could get the shot no matter what. I volunteered in 1943. Figured it would be an adventure. Figured I'd see the world, film some battles, come home with stories to tell at parties. Maybe get my name in the credits of a documentary that would play in theaters across America. I filmed in the Marshall Islands, the Philippines. Shot footage of MacArthur wading ashore. You've probably seen that shot. It played in every theater in the country. Got commended for my work. The brass liked me. Said I had an eye for composition, for telling the story. By March 1945, I was good at my job. Real good. I could load a fresh magazine while shells were falling. Could keep the camera steady during a bombardment. Could frame a shot to make the war look noble, heroic, worth dying for. I was an artist with that camera. That's what I told myself. Then they sent me to Okinawa. April 1st, 1945, L-Day. Love Day, they called it. Stupid name for an invasion. There was nothing lovely about what I filmed that spring. Nothing lovely about what that island did to all of us. The landing was easy, too easy. I came ashore with the 96th Infantry Division on the western beaches. Had my camera ready, expecting chaos, like Tarawa, like Iwo Jima, like every other island landing I'd read about. Explosions, machine gun fire, men dying on the beach. But there was nothing. No resistance at all. We just walked ashore like tourists. Some of the guys were joking about it, laughing, saying maybe the Japs had given up. I filmed it all. The landing craft hitting the beach, the ramps dropping, thousands of Marines and soldiers pouring onto Okinawa. Perfect blue sky overhead, almost peaceful. I remember thinking, this is going to be the easiest footage I've ever shot. That lasted about 3 days. The Japanese weren't on the beaches. They were inland, dug into the hills and ridges. They'd learned from their mistakes on other islands. No more suicidal banzai charges. No more fighting on the beaches where our ships could blast them. They'd built fortifications, caves, bunkers, tunnels, turned the entire southern part of the island into a fortress. And they waited. The first time I saw what Okinawa was really going to be like was near Kakazu Ridge, April 9th. I was with a company from the 96th, filming them as they advanced up a muddy slope. Light rain falling, everything gray and wet. The Japanese opened up from hidden positions, machine guns, mortars, artillery. The company I was filming just disintegrated. 1 second they were moving forward, the next they were torn apart. I hit the ground, kept filming. That's what you do. You keep filming. My hands were shaking so badly the footage probably came out blurry, but I kept the camera rolling. A sergeant near me took a bullet through the throat. He went down gurgling, blood spraying. I filmed it. Filmed him dying. Filmed the medic trying to save him. Filmed the medic getting hit, too. The attack failed. We pulled back, left the dead where they fell. Too much fire to recover them. That night I developed the footage in my makeshift darkroom, a blacked-out tent with chemical baths. watched the images appear in the developer, the sergeant dying, the medic collapsing, all of it clear and sharp and real. I threw up in a bucket. Then I labeled the reels and sent them back to headquarters. They'd edit out the worst parts before showing it in theaters back home, make it look heroic instead of just slaughter. But I'd seen the raw footage, knew what was really happening, and I had 80 more days of filming ahead of me. 80 days on an island that was trying to kill everyone on it. The rain started in earnest in mid-April. Didn't stop for weeks. Everything turned to mud, not regular mud, this thick red clay that stuck to everything. Your boots, your clothes, your equipment. The camera got so caked with it, I had to clean the lens every few minutes. Bodies turned to mud, too. That's what I remember most. The dead just melted into the landscape. You'd walk past what you thought was a shell crater and realize it was a man. Or what used to be a man. I filmed at Hacksaw Ridge in early May. You've heard of Hacksaw, probably. 400-foot cliff. The Japanese were at the top, we were at the bottom. Men had to climb cargo nets to get up there, completely exposed. The Japanese just picked them off like target practice. I filmed a private from Kentucky making it halfway up before a mortar round hit near him. He lost his grip, fell 40 feet, landed on the rocks below. I watched through my viewfinder as his body tumbled down, filmed the whole thing. That footage never made it into any newsreel, too graphic. But I have it. Still have all the reels they wouldn't use. Keep them in a closet. Can't bring myself to destroy them. Can't bring myself to watch them. The worst day was May 18th. I was filming with the 1st Marine Division near Wanna Ridge. We'd been attacking the same position for 2 weeks, taking it, losing it, taking it again. The ridge was just a pile of mud and corpses by then. Japanese and American, all mixed together, decomposing in the heat and rain. The smell was indescribable. You couldn't eat, couldn't breathe without wanting to vomit, and I had to film in the middle of it. I was shooting footage of Marines clearing a bunker when I heard the screaming. Looked over and saw a kid, maybe 19, on fire. A flamethrower had backfired and he was burning. Running in circles, screaming, his skin melting off. I filmed it. God help me, I filmed it. Kept the camera running while his buddies tackled him, trying to smother the flames. Kept filming as they rolled him in the mud. Kept filming as he stopped moving. A corporal grabbed my jacket, spun me around. His face was inches from mine. What the fuck is wrong with you? Put the goddamn camera down. I'm just doing my job. Your job? Your J.O.B., that was Jimmy. That was my friend. He shoved me backward into the mud. Other Marines were staring at me, looking at me like I was some kind of monster. Maybe I was. I'd filmed men dying for 2 months straight. Filmed them blown apart, burned alive, shot, bayoneted. I'd filmed caves full of dead civilians, families who'd killed themselves rather than be captured, because the Japanese military had told them Americans were demons who'd torture them. I'd filmed children, dead children, filmed American soldiers crying over them. And through it all, I'd stayed behind the camera, stayed separate, stayed safe. The camera was supposed to protect me, keep me from being part of it. But I was part of it. Every frame I shot made me part of it. June, the rain never stopped. The mud got worse. The dying continued. I'd lost count of how many firefights I'd filmed, how many attacks, how many bodies. The footage all started to look the same. Different faces, same death. I was with the 6th Marine Division when we pushed toward the southern end of the island. The Japanese were compressed into an increasingly small area, and they were fighting harder than ever. Every cave had to be cleared, every bunker destroyed, every pillbox reduced to rubble. It was systematic extermination. That's what it felt like. Not war, extermination. I filmed Marines using flamethrowers on cave entrances, filmed the smoke and screams that came out, filmed demolition teams sealing caves with explosives, burying everyone inside, filmed the aftermath when they opened caves and found civilians mixed in with the soldiers, women, children, old people, all dead. Nobody knew what to do with that footage, couldn't show it back home, couldn't admit that we were killing civilians, even accidentally, even though the Japanese military had forced them into those caves and told them to fight. So that footage went into the restricted pile, the pile that would never see a theater. I started drinking, managed to get my hands on some sake from a captured Japanese position, drank every night trying to blur the images, trying to forget what I'd filmed that day. Didn't work, never works. I met another cameraman, a guy named Tommy Rodriguez from Texas. He'd been on Okinawa since L Day, too. We'd cross paths sometimes, share cigarettes, compare notes on where the fighting was heaviest. I ran into him on June 15th. He looked worse than I felt, hollow-eyed, shaking. "I can't do it anymore, Jack," he said. "I can't keep filming this." "Yeah," I said. "I know." I filmed a kid today, American kid, 17 maybe. He stepped on a mine, blew his legs clean off. He was conscious, Jack, screaming, asking me to help him, and I just stood there filming while he bled out. "You were doing your job." "Fuck the job, fuck all of this. What are we doing? What's the point?" I didn't have an answer, didn't have anything to say that would help. Rodriguez shot himself 3 days later, used his service pistol, left a note saying he couldn't carry the weight anymore. I understood. God, I understood. But I kept filming, kept loading magazines, kept documenting the war. Because what else was I supposed to do? Go home and admit I'd quit? Admit I couldn't handle it? The footage had to be shot. Someone had to do it. History had to be recorded. That's what I told myself. But really, I kept filming because I didn't know how to stop. The camera had become part of me, an extension of my eye. I couldn't look at the war without filming it anymore, couldn't separate myself from the lens. June 21st, 1945. That's the day I stopped being a cameraman and became something else, something broken. The fighting was winding down. The Japanese were being pushed into the southern tip of the island. Their organized resistance was collapsing, but individuals and small groups were still fighting, still dying, still killing. I was near Mabuni, filming Marines clearing out the last positions. Beautiful day, actually. Sun was out for the first time in weeks. The sky was blue. You could almost forget there was a war on. Then I saw the kids, a group of Okinawan civilians coming out of a cave. Maybe 8 of them, mostly women and children. They were terrified, faces pale, hands up, obviously surrendering. Some Marines were approaching, calling out to them in broken Japanese, telling them it was okay. They were safe now. No one would hurt them. I started filming. This was good footage. The human side of war, civilians being rescued, liberation, hope. Then one of the children, a little girl, maybe 7 years old, pulled a grenade, Japanese grenade, type 97. Someone had given it to her, told her to use it on the Americans. She was just a kid, didn't understand, probably thought it was the right thing to do, protecting her family from the demons. Everything happened in slow motion. The grenade tumbled from her hands, landed in the mud between the civilians and the Marines. I kept filming, didn't move, didn't shout a warning, just kept the camera rolling. The explosion killed 3 Marines, wounded 2 more, killed most of the civilians too, including the little girl. When the smoke cleared, I was still standing there, still filming. The camera had captured everything, the whole tragedy, perfect footage. A lieutenant grabbed my camera, threw it in the mud. "What the hell is wrong with you? You didn't warn them. You just stood there." I was filming. I was just... You could have shouted. You could have done something. He was right. I could have. Should have. But I didn't. Because I was behind the camera. Because I was an observer. Because I'd convinced myself I wasn't really part of it. But I was part of it. That little girl died, and I'd watched it happen through a viewfinder, documented it for history, done my job. 3 Marines died because I didn't warn them. Because I was too busy being a cameraman to be a human being. I picked up my camera. It still worked. Mud on the lens, but otherwise fine. I cleaned it off with my sleeve. Loaded a fresh magazine. Kept filming, because that's what I did. That's all I knew how to do. But something inside me died that day. Whatever part of me had been separate from the war, whatever part had been able to observe without feeling, it was gone. I was just a mechanism now, a human tripod, something that held a camera and recorded death. The war ended 3 weeks later. Japan surrendered after the atomic bombs. August 15th, 1945. VJ Day. Victory. I filmed the celebrations. Men cheering, crying, hugging each other. The war was over. We'd won. I felt nothing, just checked the exposure and kept filming. I came home in October 1945, landed in San Francisco. My wife met me at the dock, Mary. We'd been married for 6 years, but I barely recognized her. Or maybe she barely recognized me. She tried. God, she tried. Asked me about the war, about what I'd seen. I couldn't tell her. Couldn't find the words. How do you explain what I'd filmed, what I'd watched, what I'd become? So I didn't talk about it, just unpacked my duffel bag and went back to work at Paramount. They gave me a promotion, made me a senior cameraman, said my war footage was exceptional, said I had an eye for the dramatic moment, said I'd helped win the war by documenting it. I had a breakdown 3 months later. Middle of filming a movie premiere, some starlet walking down a red carpet waving at cameras. I was shooting it, and suddenly I wasn't seeing her. I was seeing the little girl with the grenade, seeing Marines burning in a flamethrower attack, seeing Rodriguez's body. I dropped the camera, just walked away, left it lying on the sidewalk. They sent me to a psychiatrist. He said I had combat fatigue, said lots of servicemen were experiencing it, said I'd get better with time. He was wrong. I couldn't work as a cameraman anymore. Couldn't look through a viewfinder without seeing death. Couldn't hear a camera motor running without my hands starting to shake. Paramount let me go in 1946. Mary left me in 1947. Can't blame her. I'd become a ghost, just going through the motions. Not really alive. I moved into a small apartment in Burbank. Got a job as a night watchman. Work that didn't require thinking, didn't require caring. The footage I shot on Okinawa, most of it was classified, locked away in government archives. Too graphic for public consumption, too honest. It showed what war really was, and nobody wanted to see that. They wanted John Wayne movies. They wanted heroes and glory and easy victories. They didn't want dead children, didn't want Marines on fire, didn't want the truth. I requested copies of my footage in 1948. Took 6 months, but they finally sent me the reels. All of it. Even the stuff they'd classified. I set up a projector in my apartment. Spent a weekend watching everything I'd filmed. All 73 days I'd spent on Okinawa. Every death, every horror. Looking for something, I don't know what, justification maybe, some proof that it had mattered, that documenting it all had been worth the cost. I didn't find it, just saw myself, over and over, choosing to film instead of help, choosing to document instead of intervene, becoming part of the machine that killed everyone it touched. The camera didn't protect me, didn't keep me separate. It just gave me an excuse to watch people die and call it duty. I'm 47 years old now, live alone, work alone, sleep alone with the images I can't forget. Sometimes I think about Rodriguez, about how he found the courage to stop, to put down the camera and walk away, even if walking away meant dying. I wasn't that brave. I kept filming until the war ended, kept documenting, kept adding to the pile of footage that nobody wanted to see. Okinawa lasted 83 days, nearly 50,000 American casualties, over 100,000 Japanese military dead, at least 100,000 Okinawan civilians killed, probably more. Nobody knows exactly. I filmed a fraction of it. But that fraction is enough to fill my dreams every night. Enough to make me wake up gasping, reaching for a camera that isn't there. People ask me sometimes what it was like being a combat cameraman. They think it must have been exciting, adventurous. They want war stories. I tell them I took pictures. That's all. Just took pictures. I don't tell them about the little girl with the grenade, about Rodriguez, about the Marines who died while I filmed instead of warning them. I don't tell them that the camera became my excuse, my shield, my reason not to be human. I don't tell them that I'm still behind that viewfinder, still watching, still documenting, still separate from life, because being separate is easier than being present. The war ended 5 years ago. Japan surrendered. We won. But I'm still on Okinawa, still filming, still watching people die through a lens, still trying to convince myself that documenting horror is the same as fighting it, still failing. The camera didn't protect me from the war. It just gave me a way to participate without admitting I was participating. A way to watch people die and call it history instead of murder. A way to be complicit and call it duty. I thought I was a witness. Turns out I was just another weapon, just another tool the war used to destroy everyone it touched. The footage is in a closet somewhere. 73 days of death, carefully documented, properly exposed, perfectly framed. I haven't watched it since 1948. Can't destroy it, can't watch it, can't do anything with it except let it sit there. A testament to nothing, a record of suffering that nobody wants to see. That's what I brought back from Okinawa. Not honor, not meaning, not purpose. Just reels of film showing that I was there. I saw it happen, and I did nothing but film. We were supposed to document the war so people would understand it, so they'd remember, so they'd know what the boys sacrificed. But nobody wants to understand. Nobody wants to remember. Nobody wants to know. They just want the edited version, the heroic version, the version that makes sense. I'm still trying to find that version in the footage. Still looking through the viewfinder for meaning that isn't there. Still filming a war that never ends.